All right. The first thing that comes to my mind when I hear the word microbiology are all the interactions in the DNA surface during life development. Additionally, there is a complicated and specific machinery that is not only in charge of making everything work well, but also has a beautiful kind of order that starts with the nitrogen bases that conform DNA, and then it becomes being more complicated until we arrive at chromosomes, nucleus, or organelles, cells, and tissues. Wow, interesting. Okay, the understanding of all these things are complicated in how we can be able to improve applied sciences, such as medicine, which is the most famous and the one in charge of human healthcare. Medicine could be the most famous, but not the only one. Other sciences such as agriculture, ecology, forensic psychology, etc., depends on the understanding of molecular biology. Nice. Because of all these, because of all of these, I don't think molecular biology could be a compulsory subject, at least here in Mexico. It's very important to know that going from a very low level in the understanding of sciences to a very complicated one with the addition of the blindness in applied sciences can make you think that what you're learning is a loss of time. Like algebra, when I recommend, what I recommend is to show the implications before the complexity so that maybe students will be interested to become a scientist, no matter how difficult it could be. Wow, amazing. Great point of view.
I feel like when you didn't do your homework on time, your projects, you were the last one to do it, and it was the better of the class.
That's great for the ego.
Yes.
Like one feels like, oh, bruh, there's no competition in this. Okay,
So,
here we go.
yes,
Here we go.
this is how does it feels to arrive to the heaven.
Is that
Yeah, is that?
is this how is a connector?
Uh-huh.
Eres un verb complement. Is this how arriving to heaven feels?
I is this how arriving to heaven feels?
Mhm. No, that was like falling from the sky. Lazarus. Do you know Lazarus?
Mhm.
You know.
You know. Okay.
No, 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 no. Why is it in blue?
Because you put it in that color.
True, 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 true. True, 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 true. Feedback. Your ideas in
Mm,
terms of the way, for example, Cambridge um, grades writings. They have 4 levels of criteria that are very, very fundamental for a good writing. The first one is called content, which means the task that you were supposed to do is done
mhm.
in short words. The other one is communicative achievement, which is, can the reader understand you?
Okay.
The next one is called organization. Is there a thesis statement? There is a development, there is a closing, etc. It's pretty interesting how you started with like you gave context before actually giving your opinion, which is an interesting way to put it. In terms of organization, for me, it's like 5 points for free, you know? Oh, that's because every point is 5 point worth 5 points, and then overall it's 20 points because the last one is called language.
Okay.
So definitely here in terms of organization, you have 5 points out of 5.
Okay.
Here is where the issue comes because in terms of oh yeah, also content is completely done. There are some sentences here that could be expressed differently, and that affects communicative achievement because sometimes we don't know what kind of openness to foreign culture the listener has or the reader has, that it becomes like necessary to write the same way a native person would say it. The same thing in speaking, you know? The closer you speak to native people, the better. The better your communicative achievement is. Right? And in terms of language, it's about, mistakes, words that are technically definitely not supposed to be there, collocations that were supposed to be different, you know. When you were texting me your questions, I was at the gym and I didn't notice. I wrote familiar to you. And that gave me cringe. Oh, there's you.
Hi.
Yeah, that gave me cringe the
Why?
second time I read it because I was like familiar with, no? That was me. My bad. Oh no, not my bad. I'm a genius. I'm a freaking genius. I'm the best. Now I'll forget about it. That's 5 points for me.
I'm amazing.
I'm amazing. Yeah, you can say familiar to, not familiar with.
But there is a familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Both are right.
Okay. Nice.
Both are
English.
right. Jesus. God forbid a man's be good at something. For real. Ay. Anyway. Sorry, Fanny. Sorry
Forget about it.
to show you. I'm thinking about it. So anyway, I hope that increases credibility in the messages I'm going to give you. Okay? The first thing that comes to my mind when I hear the words molecular biology are all the interactions that the DNA suffers during life's development. Whose life development?
Oh, I have an issue with that.
Okay.
Because biology studies all kinds of life.
Mhm.
So how can I express that?
Wow, what a great question. I don't know. No, the word will be lives, like taking it as a countable noun.
Okay.
Like when you're talking in general, we use articles a or an. For example, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Which apple? Doesn't matter. It's an apple in general, right? Doing exercise is good for a person, for a person's health, for example, right? And we are talking about a countable noun. We're talking in general, and there is There's no specificity here. So if you're talking about all kinds of lives, that you could use the word alive.
Okay.
A life's development, or that the DNA suffers during the development of a life.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just confirm this. Wait, don't laugh. Make me nervous. To have a long, short life. When you are talking about the period between someone's birth and someone's death, it's countable. So you can say a life. A life. Yeah. Like if you take life as uncountable, you have other meaning. Look at this. Uncountable. The quality of the inactive, for example. This is a great holiday resort that is full of life. Now we are not talking about development. We are not talking about birth and death. Make sense? So that will be the solution. Okay.
Okay.
Correction, help me. The first thing, complete idea.
That comes to my mind
Uh-huh.
when I hear the words molecular biology are all the interactions that the DNA suffers during a life's development. Sorry.
Sounds good. Or the development of a life. Right?
Okay.
Additionally, there is a complicated and specific genetic machinery that is not only in charge of making everything, but also not only, but also. Look at you.
It was one of my favorites.
Nice. It's making everything over, but also has a beautiful kind of order that starts with the nitrogen bases that conform DNA. Because until we arrive at tissues. Okay. There are two things we need to check here. The first one, a beautiful kind of order. Sounds strange. It starts with the nitrogen bases that conform the DNA that
Conform.
conform. I conform, you conform, and that.
Conforms.
Yep.
Yes, I eat and is.
Don't feel bad. And then it becomes being. Aha, it becomes being. What about it starts being? Or it starts to become more and more complicated.
Okay.
Okay, let's change that cookie. Memorize that as a cookie. It starts to become.
It starts to become.
Yes. Mhm.
Very big cookie.
Right, exactly. But those kind of cookies can help you translate words that you usually say in Spanish. Like when you're speaking, you say se
Mm-hmm.
vuelve, se empieza a volver, se empieza a hacer.
Okay.
Mhm. So it starts to become more complicated until we arrived at chromosomes. Nucleus, is that plural? Isn't it nuclei?
Nucleus. I don't know. No, it is nucleus. Yeah.
It's nuclei because we are talking about plural.
Okay.
The rest of the sentences are plural. Chromosomes, plural. Organelles, plural. Tissues, cells, plural. And the nucleus is singular.
Okay.
Mhm. Did
Yes.
you see Greek origin words on the
Mm-hmm.
top course?
Mm-hmm. Yes. 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 Yes.
Do like make that list a poster for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be super useful for you.
Yes, I
Mhm.
didn't remember.
Dude, they lost. They lost a great teacher. Jesus Christ. They are lost, not mine.
Is there lost?
They're lost. And hers
Mm-hmm.
too. Anyway, the understanding of all these things is implicated in how. Ah, yeah. That okay. Let's stop over there because we have a lot of things, and the next one is the part of is implicated. So let's keep it here. Additionally, there is a complicated and specific genetic machinery that it is not only in charge of making everything work well, but also has a beautiful kind of order. But also, I would use a different verb instead of the verb have, and you need to be more explicit explicit on how what kind of order we're talking about.
Another verb and more specific.
Yeah, because you say something
Mm-hmm.
that starts with the nitrogen bases that come from DNA, and then it starts becoming more complicated until we arrive to the chromosomes. So you're talking about the development of something, but I don't know what this something is. And I
Okay.
want to know.
Okay.
Help me here.
So
What about chain?
chain as a verb.
No, it's a noun, like order.
Yes. But you told me to change the verb.
Oh yeah, we need to you change the verb anyway, but we need to change order too, or
Okay.
kind of order, because it sounds incomplete. There's something there missing.
Chain.
A beautiful.
Chain.
How would you say reacción en cadena in English?
Chain reaction.
We are going to change order for change reaction.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Less one.
Reader. The reader reach and point of understanding you actually meant. May want, meant. Let's change this one to communicative achievement. A beautiful remove kind of and go directly to chain of reaction.
Okay.
Okay, now let's change has. That is not only in charge of making everything. That is not only in charge of making everything work well, but also has.
It starts.
Wow, I like starts, but we already said starts. So let's go through the
Yes.
B2 level. What about fires?
Wait. It's
No?
becoming so dramatic.
Ah, dude. No. Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Triggers. What about triggers?
Yes.
There'll be another one. Kickoff. No, but I need a verb. This is a noun, verb. Create, establishes, initiates, but initiates is kind of formal. Launches, sets up. Yeah, fire is dramatic. Mhm. Which one do you like from here, from this list? What about set?
Set up.
Just set.
Just sit.
Mhm.
But also sit.
But I said, you said, and it.
It's
Uh-huh.
also sits
That's a word that you
reaction.
don't usually use, but it's considered beginner. So if you get used to using it, can actually make you explore bigger words because set is very far away from Spanish. So even though it is beginners, there's not a lot of Spanish speakers that use set when they speak English.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. No, I
Perfect.
like.
So let's change has to. The verb set. What other do you like?
Launch.
Launch. Transition. Launch.
Launch.
Mhm. What other?
Begins.
Begins. Two more.
Um, Introduce.
Okay. And
Another one.
one last.
Opens.
Okay. Or open. Can is closer in meaning to your idea than has. Got it?
Got it.
Am I boring you?
No.
Do you want popcorn?
Yes, please.
I cannot send them
Mm,
through Wi-Fi. But okay, let's do something. Next Monday,
mhm.
I noticed that I always snack in your class.
Yeah.
So I will tell you what kind of snack I have, and then you can get something.
Oh, I like that idea.
Okay?
Yes.
What is the cookie that we are going to use to replace it becomes being?
It starts to become.
It starts to become. So correction, 1 to 3.
Oh my God. Additionally, there is a complicated and specific genetic machinery that it is not only in charge of making everything work well,
Okay.
but also opens a chain reaction
Mhm. Don't
that
remove beautiful.
a beautiful chain reaction
Mhm.
that starts with the uh-huh with sorry I got lost. That starts with a nitrogen basis that conforms DNA.
Oh, wait, conform is correct
Really?
because you're talking about nitrogen bases, plural.
I am a genius.
You're a genius.
That conform DNA and it starts to become,
And
and it starts to become.
I'm lost. Wait, yeah, and then
Okay, it starts to become.
it starts to become.
It starts to become more complicated.
Let's use something called for the word more. For the word more, we are going to use something called double comparative.
Uh-huh.
What's that?
Yes.
This website, girl, ThoughtCo, dude, it has the most advanced explanations with the most random questions I have had in my life. They have the answer.
Okay. Have you ever seen the TikTok that says like these are my ladies? And then it starts to present their ladies?
Yeah,
You have to do that with your
with my websites.
yes.
Yes, I have. Oh, that was a great idea for a video for my nutshell account.
Mm.
That was a good one. I will save it later.
Yes.
The more, the more, the more, the more, the nicer, the happier. You know. So there's acceptable comparative when you can use when you have to one comparative, you can actually duplicate it to understand a gradual progress.
Okay.
You know, because in this case, in the chain of reaction, you are talking about a gradual change,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there is something surprisingly there was nothing like that here for gradual increase. Not here,
Mm-mm.
but you need to use the more and more. Okay, so it starts being more and more complicated.
Okay.
Okay. So the tip here will be use double comparatives if you mean a gradual evolution of something. Until, continue.
Until we arrived at chromosomes, nuclei, organelles, cells, and tissues.
You need to use the verb in present.
Until we arrive.
Until we arrive. But I'm going to teach you an expression. Open glossary.
Okay.
To something up until something.
Up until something.
The word is up to or up until. That's the cookie.
Okay. And it means
Read this.
as far as a particular number, level, etc., I can take up 4 people.
It means that the car cannot fit more than 4 people. Okay. Why are you laughing about a small car, dude?
Have you
Girl.
seen the Sardina cars?
Yeah. Oh, you think you can fit more than 4 people? Okay.
Mhm.
Nice. Yeah, come on, man. Don't challenge me. So until we eliminate, no, don't eliminate. Use up until.
More and more complicated up until.
Because the word until by itself gives another meaning, and you lose the idea, the original idea you intentionally want to say
Mhm.
goes better with this.
Okay,
Mhm.
nice.
Until we arrive at chromosomes,
Nuclei,
nuclei.
nuclei,
Mhm.
organelles, cells, and tissues.
Correct. Mhm. How old were you when I taught you?
16 years old.
Holy shit.
Yes.
Makes sense.
8 years.
Mhm. Wow. Okay. Next one. The understanding of all these things is implicated. Aha. This part was an exercise that we did yesterday.
Really?
Subject and verb agreement.
The understanding of all these things is implicated in how.
Ah, no, it's the understanding, right? Not are. No, forget it. But I have another objection.
Okay, no problem.
The understanding of all these things, I need Spanish. Quisiste decir, el entendimiento de estas cosas está implicado
Uh-huh.
en how we can be able to improve,
I have an issue there.
I bet.
Uh-huh.
The understanding of all these things.
Because even in Spanish, I didn't know how to explain that.
Okay.
Because I wanted to say that all that you have to understand is what you need to to like to understand better other sciences, you know?
Uh, that all those things that you, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay. The understanding of all these things
Uh-huh.
is perfect. Wait, yeah, we need to remove the word is implicated completely.
Okay,
Mhm.
bye bye.
The understanding of all these things is what about fundamental? What about necessary?
Mm-hmm.
Priority, essential, crucial, decisive. Mhm.
A little bit dramatic.
Which one is less dramatic for you?
um,
Implicated.
no, that's why I use it. Fundamental, I think.
Okay. It's fundamental. In, now let's check the cookie. Is it correct to say fundamental in? Four? I think it's four, eh? Two or four. Art is fundamental to success. Four. But you have be able to, and you were so specific on the ability to that you gave me a second ability auxiliary. You were
I
like,
wanted you to notice.
ah. Yeah. You really, really want the person to have the ability, you know? So duplicate.
Like nobody can do this. Just the only ones.
Yeah. Therefore, I lost. Able to. Remove can,
Mhm.
keep be able to,
Okay.
remove in how,
Okay.
and give me cookie for fundamental four.
The understanding of all these things is fundamental for
Remember, four
uh-huh.
doesn't connects a noun, eh? I'm testing you right now. Yeah, this is a test.
Mm, but there is not a noun there.
Actually, you can transform,
Until sciences.
nope, you can transform a verb
Mhm.
into a noun with a specific conjugation.
Being
Excellent. So what is it fundamental for?
is fundamental for being able to improve applied sciences.
Bye bye. Spanglish transformed into English. Great job. For being able to improve applied sciences such as medicine, which is the most famous, the most famous? Actually, I have a video about that in my TikTok. How do you translate la familia es lo más importante?
The family is the most important.
Wrong. First of all, remove that because family in general doesn't need an article.
Okay.
Okay? Second of all, the most important, you cannot have an adjective by itself. Never. So, is the most important? The most important what? The most important thing, the most important subject, the most important issue, the most important what. So, keeping that in mind, always give an adjective a noun, like they
Okay.
need to be together. The only solution here is using a pronoun, an indefinite pronoun.
Okay.
You see?
But how do you translate?
How do you want?
How do you translate la familia es lo más
La más
importante?
famosa, only. En Spanish, en español sí puedes usar un adjetivo solito.
Ajá,
La familia es lo más importante, punto. Ella es la más
ajá,
famosa, punto. In
ajá.
English, she's the most famous one. Family is the most important
That's
thing.
one in.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Make a note.
Okay.
I saw you confused in this one.
A little bit. Come
The
on.
note is an adjective cannot go by itself. It needs a noun.
Go by itself. It needs okay.
Mhm. That's it. Jesus.
Yes.
It was full. Oh my God, the time. We saw so many things. We went 50% through. That's why these texts need 200 words at most. Because they are passionate, you can continue writing about it and you will never finish giving feedback on this. So let's keep it like this. Let's save it. And then I will send it to you so you can study it. We come back on Monday for part 2. But if you find any other improvement,
Okay. Any other strange thing?
don't call it that
Why not?
because it makes me laugh.
Mis chistes, mis traumas.
Literally. So let me find the WhatsApp. Here comes the boy. Ready. All right, girl. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
Great job. Are you going to the gym?
Yes.
Do
To
it.
a new gym.
A new gym? Okay.
It is just for Fridays.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Why is that?
Because I am going to train with a friend.
Perfect.
Yes,
Do it.
yes, it's okay, it's okay.
What
But
a great way.
I
Is
have
it?
a social anxiety.
Oh, I know. I know. Dude, I feel so, yeah. Wow, you remind me of some stuff. But girl, if you looked at yourself from far away, you would say, wow, I want to be as fit as she is.
Yeah, maybe.
Think about that when you enter. Okay?
Okay. Very nice.
Awesome. I'll
Thank
see
you.
you then on Monday.
See
Happy
you
Mother's Day.
too.
Bye.
Bye.